Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm the gamer in yellow, and also Mikey a little bit today, because he's not here with us.
What are you doing in my house?
You invited me over.
Right. So today's been one of those days.
It's one of those days. I'm not going to sing Limp Bizkit, it's fine.
Thank you. Mikey couldn't make it today. He had to go off to another dimension. Another dimension.
As one does.
As one does, yes. And he's off for the week. But he said to press on without him. And my internet's been really crappy, so Gamer in Yellow Ninja ran all the way here.
I'm very tired, but you'll never know on recording.
Yeah.
I do not show my fatigue at all.
Yeah.
Do not tell them how tired I was when I got here.
Absolutely not. You ran between those raindrops,
Yeah.
too. Because it's been raining for like a solid week. So, again, one of those weeks. Mm-hmm. It's been... let's just... we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it.
Flawless.
And tonight we have the most dangerous ghost spot in North Kanto. So, the most dangerous ghost spot in North Kanto is on the Kowabana website, translated from a Japanese forum or submission or wherever it was acquired from on the Japanese internet, and translated and placed onto the Kowabana.net website. So you can check it out there if you'd like, as well as a metric shit ton of other creepypastas and urban legends from Japan that have been translated and posted on that website. It is awesome. So let's do our initial recommendations for the most dangerous ghost spot in North Kanto before we do anything else. I'm going to recommend it, but hear me out later in the episode for that. I was
planning on ignoring you for the rest of this recording. I guess I'll listen to you now.
Yeah. I knew you were going to do that when I wrote that down in my notes.
But I didn't do it the past 2 times we tried this recording.
Shut up.
I eventually got there.
I'm going to recommend it, but initially I wasn't. So should say something.
Fair. I'm curious how you got to that, because I'm not going to recommend it, but as I said, I'm curious as to why you had such a change of heart, and if you will change my heart.
We'll see. Also, I understand why you didn't recommend this, or I feel like I understand why you wouldn't recommend this story, because I feel like the same reason I wouldn't recommend the story initially. Okay. So, but yeah. Without further ado, we'll dive into the rundown. Mm-hmm. So, this is a story of Nair-san and some friends who went around their hometown and the Kanto area of Japan with a map of ghost spots, and basically just checked out the locations, but they didn't see anything spooky, mainly because they can't see ghosts, and also seemed kind of skeptical. Seems like they just wanted to go on a mini road trip for the silly thrill of it. A-kun, one of Nair-san's friends, suggests a blog that has some new places to check, and that's when they realize that the place on the blog that this supposed ghost hunter from Tokyo has found, that is super evil and scary, is actually the area right around Nair's parents' house. It's then that Nair starts realizing, or starts recalling, a bunch of tragic accidents involving a train and murders at a festival inside of their hometown in its history. And the name even had to be altered. The name of the town even had to be altered because the kanji, or part of the kanji, could mean something bad. So the tourist board basically showed up. I was like, we need to change this.
Yeah.
The blogger and the commenters on the blog and the photos taken of the spooky houses and neighborhood area bring up that the house and neighborhood, Nair's childhood home, look very creepy and definitely ghost infested. Like that shed, there's something definitely going on with that shed. And meanwhile, Nair's just like, dude, we raised chickens in that shed. It's fine. Don't worry. There's nothing bad ever happened there. And this makes Nair very sad. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, the blog is no longer around. Finn. So, I suppose without further ado, let's dive in. Let's do the everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions. At this point, that's literally how I do it every time.
Yeah,
off record. Like now, you guys
like
see
with the hand gesture.
Everyone tolerates it because I need to get that that
the little bit of oomph.
Yeah. I am part Italian. I need the hand gestures.
That's fair.
So yeah, I've got a couple of grammar inquisitions. Starting with this one here. He didn't read the blog closely, so we looked for it again to decide which haunted location we'd visit next. We easily found the blog again. This kind of I kind of wish that short sentence at the very end, like we easily found it. We easily found the blog again. Like after going through that whole hullabaloo of trying to find the blog again. Maybe been added to the previous sentence or reconstructed properly, because the way it sounded to me it's like one of those scenes in a movie where they need to do something and then it just cuts to a black screen and white text they found that thing.
Yeah.
That kind of super obvious thing. That's what it felt like to me.
A little bit.
And maybe that's part of the humor. Or maybe they tried to inject some humor into the story with that. But it kind of came off a little clanky to me in the writing.
It was a little unnecessary.
Yeah. I don't really have any way to fix it, but...
Well, you don't need to bring up that they found the blog again. You could just go into your history and find it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not hard to do.
Yeah. And then the next thing I have, the blog listed a place it called the most wickedly cold place in northern Kanto, and I could barely contain my excitement at finding such an interesting place as I clicked the link. I wonder if this is meant to be the slang, wickedly cool, as in the slang, or slang. I wonder if it's a if it's a mistranslation issue,
or if it's cold.
If it's because either would work, because I could see either working. So it's supposed to be wickedly cool, as in rad or awesome, the wickedly awesome
I
place.
never saw that.
Or if it's actually supposed to be wickedly cold, as in evil haunted location, because one of the trademarks of haunted locations most of the time is the temperatures drop.
I went cold specifically just because it's temperature, nothing to do with any demons.
Okay, so we went three ways.
Yeah.
So, with two hosts, we went three places. Awesome. But yeah,
rule 3.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious if that actually was supposed to be translated to wickedly cool rather than wickedly cold. Or if it's supposed to be wickedly cold, like you said, with temperature, actual natural temperature wise, or spooky temperature wise, because again, cold spots are a sign of hauntings.
Yeah, because if it was meant to be really cold, I feel you would say cold.
Yeah.
Because cool isn't, it's just a little cool. Cool isn't usually something being wickedly cool temperature wise.
Yeah.
Cool is sort of an average cold sort of thing.
It's like saying that thing is awesomely good. Because good is just good. It's not great or fantastic. It's just good.
Yeah. Or it's I don't know. Wickedly cool is not cold to me, It's it's an average sort of cold temperature, but it's wickedly so.
Yeah.
Wickedly average, slightly below averagely cool.
Wickedly lukewarm.
Yeah, it's like that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. If it said wickedly hot, that'd be fine. But if it it's wickedly warm. That's basically what cool. Cool is the cold version of warm to me.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I feel if it's it's supposed to be wickedly, if it's going to be wickedly cold, then it's either about the temperature, or it's supposed to be slang. But either one I would have taken. It's just when I was reading, it's was that a mistranslation of slang?
Maybe. Or you could just remove all that and just say the most wicked spot.
Exactly.
Because that could be
wickedly,
multiple...
or even wickedly haunted or wickedly evil place in northern Kanto.
Yeah.
Bam. But yeah, just something, again, nothing really to fix. Just it had me wondering, had me thinking about.
Yeah, which way it's actually meaning.
Yeah. This one, however, is a actual grammar inquisition, an actual spelling issue, I think. But when I looked at the comments on that article, there seemed to be quite a few from regular blog visitors that agreed. So I think you need to remove that first A, like right before the quite. So it's like there seemed to be quite a few from regular blog visitors that agreed.
Yes.
And that's it for my grammar position. So,
okay.
Gamer, do you have any others?
I guess that's my turn now. I believe I have one. Yes. I believe this is pretty early on. It doesn't matter. Before long, we'd already visited all the ghost spots we could. Neither myself nor my friends could see ghosts, so we never saw anything at them. So when we were discussing where to go next, one of my friends, I'll call him Aku, suggested something that's one sentence. There's brackets in there, so technically it's smaller, but it's a little bit of a mouthful.
It does kind of break it with the brackets, but yeah, that is a mouthful.
Also, in that paragraph, that's 90% of the entire paragraph.
That is ridiculous.
There is one short sentence ahead of that, and that's it.
That is goddamn ridiculous.
So I feel like that could be broken up a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, the first bracketed section, I feel like could just be added into the normal...
As a sentence? As a simple sentence, yeah.
I feel like it would just be like this. Before long, we'd already visited all the ghost spots we could, comma. Neither myself nor my friends could see any ghosts, comma, so we never saw anything at any of them, period. We were discussing where to go next, comma. One of my friends, bracket, I'll call him Akun, end bracket, suggested something. Yeah, because, like, the bracket section is like a post thing that you would be doing after the fact, but it's not something he's thinking about in the moment, you know, so it's okay that it's bracketed, but the other one isn't necessarily needing to be bracketed, because it's something that they're thinking of at the moment.
Yeah.
And then my next one is a conjunction junction.
All right.
And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
But when I looked at the comments on that article, there seemed to be quite a few from regular blog visitors that agreed. It was right around the time that I should have figured out how to say this. Hagurashi no Naku Koroni was getting popular, so the blog owner exaggerated quote-unquote suspicious behavior of the locals. It's not done with any ill intent. Finn. There's only 3.
Wow, yeah, so... Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
It's not... Yeah. Okay.
It's only a couple.
Yeah. But the reason we do this is because there's always better words to put at the beginning of a sentence instead of its, ands, or buts.
Yes.
Because there's always better words. I feel like I just repeated myself. Anyways.
I always do that too, so it's fine.
Okay. And that's the end of your grammar?
Yeah.
All right. Then I suppose we'll move on to actual thoughts. I'm going to start with the image.
Oh, shit.
It's fine. I have it up.
Oh, yeah.
So the image is pretty vague. It's sort of like a staple at this point with like Kowabana.
That's grass. That's not a staple.
Technically, it could be rice grass because that could be a rice patty. Therefore, it is a staple food of Japan.
Fine, I'll let that whack.
But
that's
yeah,
like recording in person, we can time stuff like that.
I can actually like physically do some comedy on our audio recording.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm sure it translates.
Oh yeah. So the photo that accompanies the article with the creepypasta, it's a Kowabana photo that is vague yet does kind of tie to the story. Like it shows kind of a town off in the distance with some mountains. So it's in the mountains. It's artistically blurry.
Yes,
because it's focusing on the grass ahead, or the rice patties of the grass ahead.
It's depth of field.
Yeah, basically, depth of field, and it shows us something that is kind of connected to the story without spoiling anything.
Yeah,
much like a lot of the images. So again, another well done title card for the Kowabana website.
It's a good choice. It doesn't spoil anything, and it's related.
Yeah,
unlike some stories, where it just spoils everything up front,
or it's like in the middle of the story for no goddamn reason, or or it's at the end and where we could have used it earlier,
or it's a picture of something completely unrelated to anything that we read.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I had to get the image out of the way because it's become a Kowabana staple for us.
Yes.
So the next thing here I have, a few stupid friends and I would pick up pick up a kind of ghost map from the convenience store during summer and use that as a guide as we traveled around various ghost spots. I really hope that's a thing in Japan, like maps, like road, it is a very spiritual country.
Yeah,
like they have like their spirituality and their faith like do have this thing. It's not in Japan, but when I was in Thailand, I remember like there were whole like sections of their magazine aisles devoted to the occult and like supernatural magazines and pamphlets and stuff.
Pretty sure you also said when you went to Newfoundland, like there was a whole bunch of talk about supernatural stuff over there.
Yeah, they do have some like fairy spots and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised.
But like, how awesome would it be just go to like the general store, like the local like convenience store, or general store, or corner store, and just pick up a touristy map of like haunted locations in Simcoe County. Like, how awesome would that fucking be?
That'd be pretty sweet.
Because this is definitely something we do. Like, we used to do this. Before, like,
I was going to say, like, when you're doing the rundown, he's saying, like, oh, well, you were describing them as just kids going out to check out the creepy spots just because.
That is basically
That's basically, yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, that's my comment there. Is just like I really hope that is actually a thing because that's so awesome. The next thing I have here, you could say that this treasure trove of ghost spots is one of the most haunted locations in all of Kanto. Damn it, Pokemon has poisoned the well of real world names. Because
I completely gapped on that.
is this town in the shadow of Mount Moon, or is it just Lavender Town? Like, because yeah, in the original Japanese Pokemon, or in the original Pokemon game, they named the region basically Kanto, which is effectively the region around Tokyo. Like you can, if you look at the map of Kanto region in Pokemon, and you look at the region of Tokyo, like look at the city of Tokyo, it's almost one for one.
Yeah,
like the shapes are almost the same.
So in real life, is that area called Kanto?
Yeah. Actually, like when you look up Kanto region, Japan, you get this.
This is the follow along at home section of our.
So basically, it basically gets you the entire like Tokyo and surrounding area.
Yeah. So
like basically that whole area around Tokyo, like it's divided up into other places, but that is generally the Kanto region.
That's cool.
And yeah, you can kind of see if you look at a map of Kanto region in Pokemon.
I'm really glad that we don't have to put in the E with the apostrophe over it for Google searches.
So like that's Kanto region there, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a big area. There's the bridge, Sento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
like
Tokyo.
It's shaped a little bit differently.
It's a little bit, and like I guess that's Cinnabar over there, like that island.
If you just turn your head a little bit, it's Pokemon one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oshima Island is basically Cinnabar. Yeah. Like it's pretty well. That's basically Kanto.
It's a simplified version.
Of course. Like that's even the bay. That's that bay right there, the Bay of Tokyo.
Yep.
Is like right there, and then like the larger area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, cool little thing here. But yeah, the fact that like as soon as I read Kanto, I immediately like went to Pokemon.
So now all these characters are Pokemon trainers.
Well, and a part of this, like this is going to bleed a little bit into my next thing, but also something really cool I think I discovered while reading this bit here. The worst, most evil ghost spot in all of northern Kanto was my hometown. For sure, lots of people died in that train accident. And before that, a bunch of kids died mysteriously in some festival. I also know that originally one of the kanji used in our hometown's place name wasn't such a good character. So they replaced it with a better one that reads the same way. Wait. A terrible train accident.
Oh no, did you go through a rabbit hole?
And death at a festival. Potentially one with drums and bells, as is mostly tradition in Japanese festivals.
Okay.
A town name with a kanji that could be interpreted to be an evil character. A place haunted in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Does Nair-san live in Kisaragi? As in the place where Kisaragi Station is?
Trains.
Like, train accident?
Yeah.
That, like, caused most of the death, so causing a lot of hauntings around a train. A festival where where kids were murdered. Which would have, and in the story of Kisaragi Station, like, the girl's trying to escape, like, she can hear bells and drums, like, some kind of ceremony. Or a festival. It's out in the mountain, like, this guy's, like, out in the mountains near a sacred mountain. And so like there's a lot of supernatural activity around that mountain probably. I was like, is this just Kitsuragi? Like, is that the, and the name of the place had to be changed because because the kanji is different. Much like in Kitsuragi, the kanji can mean oni. If as much as the actual as like another way. So it's like, is that actually, is this, did we find the secret origin for Kitsuragi Station?
Maybe. There's too many parallels.
There are, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. That being said, I believe, at least in regards to the name change, I'm pretty sure they do that a lot, because they're always swapping out kanji for one reason or another.
Yeah, and because in this case, like, it meant probably like bad luck, or there's some kind of thing, or it meant oni, because it's actually Kitsuragi.
Yeah.
Related to my previous comment about the Pokemon thing, because it's like in the Kanto region, having Kitsuragi Station in fucking Pokemon would be so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I would love a ROM hack or like a Fakemon game that's set in like a secreted or hidden away part of Kanto, where it's like Lavender Town times 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't leaned into like creepy stuff more in the Pokemon games.
Like maybe that village is the reason why there's no trains in the Kanto region of Pokemon. Because like
are there really none? There's
no trains in Pokemon.
That's weird, considering how much Japanese love trains.
How huge trains are, especially in the original Pokemon. I would have expected a region of Pokemon that is literally just based off of the real world location of Tokyo and like Japan, like urban Japan.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't have some kind of train. It's all bikes. There's no trains. Why is that? We already know that there was a secret. Not even a secret. There was a tragic Pokemon World War that Lieutenant Surge was part of.
Surge.
Yeah. So like, what if there's there's like either an abandoned or like a dead town, where like the train where that used to be the hub of trains in Kanto, and then something happened that created a lot of ghosts. Maybe it was like a regional tragedy that they've like decided like we're not doing trains anymore because of something that happened there, and now it's a haunted, like a super haunted.
Like all
like
the
area.
train, quote unquote, bodies they sent back, like all the actual trains, they're all in that area.
Yeah, like
so it's like an airplane. It's like an airplane graveyard, just all trains.
Yeah, it's a train graveyard. It's also the end of the line. Oh, like that movie, End of the Line.
You just have that right there.
I just thought of it because like
you put that there.
No, that's always been on my DVD shelf for a while.
You didn't even have to look for it. You just immediately knew it was right there.
It's alphabetical.
Oh, okay.
So I knew exactly where it was alphabetically.
Okay, fair.
But no, that was completely improv.
Wow.
And then again, we've been talking about Pokemon, which is an anime thing. Well, we got an anime thing because this is anime.
It is.
So let's start with this. It was right around the time that Higurashi no Naku Koro ni was getting popular. So the blog owners exaggerated the suspicious behavior of the locals. He wrote things like, the laughing old ladies stared silently at me, expressionless, when I walked by, and stuff like that. Wait, again. Laughing old ladies who stare silently and expressionlessly. Contradiction aside, because like laughing old ladies
and
with expression, with no expression, and also like silently like laughing, that is fucking creepy. That would actually be really creepy as sin if you just saw like somebody like who has no like no facial expression, like emotion in their face whatsoever, but they are mimicking laughter, and they are not saying they're not imitating any sound.
I just imagined that just wasn't translated well, and they were actually like just laughing.
Yeah,
or actually being silent, like one or the other, but both is actually horrifying. Yes.
It would also be really horrifying. You're just walking down and just like I'm trying, like my eyes, like the eyes are completely expressionless, but the face, like the lower part of the face is like laughing, and there's no sound coming from it, but like there should be. Like that would be fucking creepy as hell.
Yes.
But yeah, that like other than that, because it is, like I said, it is anime, and we did just talk about Pokemon, but Higurashi no Naku Koro ni, or Higurashi When They Cry, is a mystery horror anime, along with also other media like games, visual novels, manga, live action adaptation. etc.
I was gonna Google what this was, but I knew you were gonna do it. So,
Well, and there is actually a popular creepy scene in that show, of a deranged, murderous girl laughing, like, uncontrollably while she's like murdering somebody or while she's killing herself or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a very creepy scene. It wasn't until I checked out the name Higurashi when they cry.
Saying it and we can't pronounce it.
Higurashi when they cry.
Yeah.
Like when I Googled that, and like saw the images on Google Images and to see what it was about, that I recognized that creepy like laughing face of the girl.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen the show. I kind of want to now because it seems like an interesting. Like I looked up on Wikipedia, it's like a mystery, psychological horror, supernatural horror.
Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, exactly. It's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I when I recognized it, I was like, oh, and I get another creepypasta. Again, this is basically like Japanese roulette. Because like I like chose randomly like some creepypastas off the Kowabana website.
Yeah.
That sounded interesting based off their titles. We have coined an anime every fucking episode of this month.
Hopefully, if not, go back and edit them and put one in.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of like for me because like a couple of them have even mentioned them by name, like some things. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, yeah, that was just something I was like, oh wow, that's an anime and it's anime and we're doing this, so cool. Mm-hmm. Also, I recognize that screenshot. And yeah, that's basically like the old women laughing while expressionless. Basically, that's that scene. So, but moving right along. I mean, I don't know how it works in Tokyo, but in our town, if someone comes in that we don't know, people are gonna look at them. It's not done with any ill intent. Yeah, honestly, the small town gawking is par for the course, even here in the West. Like,
yeah,
that's a thing. Like, heck, I get looks from like the small town I have to go to get my go to the post office.
Yeah,
like, I just like
because you're not a regular.
Yeah, I'm not like I'm becoming a regular because of how many like packages I've been getting. But like, it's like as soon as like people just like they don't recognize you from around town. They look at you. So,
yeah.
Like
it's an outsider.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like Rambo walking through town.
Yeah, well, with a little bit less malicious intent. Sometimes.
That you know about. Yeah.
It's like, that guy would be good for ritual killings. And then we get kind of to the end of my actual thoughts, but like it's a doozy. And this is where my thought process on this kind of changed from like not recommending the story to recommending it, perhaps. When the blog owner was done talking about everything else, they finished with a single photo of the most evil, dangerous place that shouldn't be approached, or that you shouldn't approach in that area. My parents' house was right there, along with some of the neighbors. At the time, I was astounded that my house was considered the most dangerous, evil ghost spot in all of North Kanto. Looking at the comments from complete strangers depressed me as well. So this quote and the rest of the story, which is only like a few more paragraphs, I think, had me thinking. So starting with my first couple of thoughts. Thought number one, this is like the family living in Murder House in the first season of American Horror Story, where there are random tourist buses going by their house with tourists taking photos of their property and their house unabashedly, even when while they're outside trying to do stuff on the lawn and property and stuff.
Yeah.
And the guy on the tour bus is talking about the horrible history of their house, and that's how they must have felt when they, because they apparently, I think if I remember correctly, because it's been a couple of years since I saw the first season of American Horror Story, I don't think they realized that their house was called Murder House when they bought it. They just bought it on the cheap in L.A.
I doubt it that the realtor.
There was a whole episode I think where they were talking to the realtor who had kept some things from them about it.
Yeah,
they had said there was something about it, but they didn't reveal that it was basically a tourist attraction in Hollywood.
Yeah, I feel like that would kill the sale.
Yeah. Thought number two, kind of a cool idea of a family who the story has established earlier can't see or sense ghosts, and so have literally been living in bliss, or in ignorant bliss, of the dark entities and creepy atmosphere of their house.
Oh, so there may actually be ghosts all over the fucking
But they
place.
have no, but they are either, because they can't sense it or even see it, they are completely immune to it, or just so whenever like a monk comes by, they get like a chill, or whenever somebody a friend of the person, of like the kids comes in that is sensitive to ghosts, they get like spooked and creeped out. But like there's no, like the house, and like the house itself, like to them, isn't creepy at all.
No.
But everyone else in the world, it's fucking, like, it's the Addams Family mansion.
Yeah, but this is fine.
Yeah, but to them, it's just like, it's like a 2-story bungalow.
Oh, like everyone literally sees it differently.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like the whole aspect feels like this whole story kind of feels like the start of a bigger set of stories, like around, based off this house, of this, like, this area. Like, I could see like a series of stories, again, like what we just said, like the characters, like the family has no idea that like their house is haunted or spooky or like super evil. But whenever like some random like person that is sensitive to that stuff comes over, they get attacked or they get freaked out and stuff. It also feels like I could use this for a game idea. Like this could be literally like the setting of a game, like of a campaign where like you're either the investigators going to like this house, or you are the characters who live in this house, and you keep getting these investigators show up, trying to like, it could be like a reverse Call of Cthulhu game where like you're not the investigators that are investigating like a haunting house. You're the people that live in that haunted house, but you don't realize it's a haunted house, so you don't realize whether these people are like trying to break and enter into your home and like investigate it and like, or burn it down.
Or run away and then
like,
they get found later in the bush, like dead, disemboweled.
Yeah, it'd be like a weird like slice of life / tower defense game.
A little bit.
Where you're like trying to defend your home from these like these clearly like insane like detectives and like monks and like hobo fish or tribal fishermen.
And, like even the cops are on board with this, you know, like because they all see it too.
Or then like, and then when like you find like your house is on like a blog of like some urban exploration site or something like that, and like it's like the house, like the blog keeps saying that like the house is abandoned. It's like, no, we're here. Like, and then like,
I wonder how far it goes, because like if they take a picture of the house and put it on the internet, would the owner see it as their house still? Like the actual image.
Well, you mean like they're like in
your idea where everyone else sees it as the Addams Family house, and you just see it as a normal looking house, even in picture form.
Yeah,
would that change over? You think?
Like they think, because it could be because like the camera is the unbiased narrator, or is the unbiased observer. Yeah, so like, would they see it in its true form, or would they just still see it? It's like, well, it looks like a real estate like photo. Yeah, like it's just straight up like a real estate photo. Like there's nothing spooky about the house at all. Yeah. But like people are like, yeah, you can see like the shadow man in the window, or like you can see the claw coming out of the hedge next to it. And it's like
there's a noose in that window.
Yeah, and it's like, no, that's just our light string. Yeah, like that's all it is. I was like, how are they getting these interior photo shots? And it's just like horror, like to them, it's like photo shots of like that, like a photographer would use for like a real estate website. Yeah. But like to everyone else who like sees it, it's like urban exploration. Like, all right, we're in this abandoned, like we're in the bedroom. I think like there's a mattress on the floor. It's like, there's no mattress on the floor. It's on a frame. Yeah. It's like, our house is perfectly fine. What the fuck is all this?
That's the bunk beds in our kids' room.
Exactly. And then at the very, like, I think at a certain point, like, there's a divergence on this idea. Either the family's been dead the whole time.
And we're not actually there.
No, we sixth sense this bullshit, and they've been living in ignorant bliss because they're dead. They are the ghosts. No, John, you are the demons. Yeah. And so, like, their perception has been skewed this whole time because they've been...
But they're interacting with people.
Yeah, but, like...
because people see ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you reveal that like everyone that they've been interacting with have just been like family members that are more like extended family members or like friends that were sensitive to ghosts, and were just basically like helping them like they couldn't help them move on, but they were just like helping, like they were playing a part to like help them feel like good, because like again, like that's the thing in Eastern cultures and stuff is like the dead aren't something to be afraid of necessarily. They're your family members. They're your ancestors. So, yeah. And then you have some asshole like group of like investigators like, no, this place is super evil and haunted. We shut this
While
down.
you're just like doing gardening as
Yeah,
a ghost.
exactly. Yeah. Or like that's one divergent path. The other one is that they're just like a family that is completely nullified or like completely censored to ghosts. So they don't see that their house is like a super haunted place. They don't see that any of the ghosts are evil entities that live in it.
And the ghosts can't even interact with them
exactly,
at all.
because like that's the thing from like again from another Lovecraft thing. Or like even Nietzschean, like you stare into the abyss stares into you. Like in the Lovecraft story, From Beyond, he puts on like like a resonator that affects his brain so that he can see into another dimension. But then the creatures that are in that dimension can see him back, and they eat him.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Is that what the glasses did in They Live as well?
No, the glasses.
Was that just visual?
They let you see the truth.
Yeah.
Like let you see through the subliminal messaging that the aliens were doing to control us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my idea, kind of like harkens like the whole like this could be like a game idea, like a game setting. Hell, this could be an anime. Again, just like slice of life anime with like a little like bit of like supernatural element where like every time like a monk comes by or a friend who's like into the supernatural or paranormal, they get weirded out, or like maybe they disappear for like for episodes. Like you never see them for episodes.
It's like Supernatural Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's Supernatural Seinfeld. And then like a couple episodes later, you do go dark a little bit when like that friend is found dead in the woods like nearby.
Yeah,
but like they were gone for like several days after like they saw something spooky in their house. Oh, they acted weird in the house, and then they come back and they're like ringified, like we're like like all like horribly like face distorted and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of ways you could take this.
Yeah, no, I really like this part. And then we got to my last kind of thought here. And this also harkens back to something I had actually been pondering recently. That of the privacy of the people and their property when it comes to ghost investigations and Urban Explorer or Urbex blogs and sites. Mm-hmm. Like, usually urban explorers and paranormal investigators, they go into abandoned locations, or they go to houses that they've got consent to go into and such, and that's fine. Generally, that's fine. But there's people living in this house and in this little neighborhood, and they may not appreciate their property ending up on a blog. Never mind that people are accusing their home of looking creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Strangely, people tend to not find that as a compliment. Weird.
Most people don't.
Yeah, most people don't.
You would.
Yeah. I'd see it as a compliment.
But,
yeah. Oddly enough, like I was saying, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier this week about a similar line of thought, where like about a local location down in Toronto, like a street down in Toronto or a road down in Toronto area, that has a fair amount of like falsely placed paranormal notoriety. Mm-hmm. And it's all around because of a misinterpretation of a tragic traffic accident memorial marker that somebody saw and was like, I wonder why there's this gravestone with this person's name on it and on the side of the road. Clearly, this used to be a property, and like the person was murdered, and like and
what a stretch.
It was so, like it was a whole thing. There's like there are at least 4 creepypastas and urban legends surrounding this one road down in Toronto area. Mm-hmm. There is what seems like a cash-in fucking movie that you can check out. It's a horror movie.
Really?
And you can check it out on like Tubi and such.
Yeah.
There was a blog for this whole thing, somebody was investigating the urban legends and stuff like that. And like trying to get trying to figure out what the heck was behind this this gravestone on the road, like in the middle, or like on the side of the road and such. Like the stories were like ranging from like ghost trucks that go down the road and chase you down to a lady in white in the cornfields. There's no fucking cornfields on that road. It's a pine forest.
Cornfields then.
I don't know.
It's like one wrong story leads to another wrong story.
There's two ghost truck stories on this road. There's a pickup truck and a semi truck that are haunted.
Yeah, one of them was first, and then the other one was the wrong retelling of it, and then it became its own offspring.
Yeah, like then there's like some people apparently like it's a lot of the urban legends, a lot of the creepypastas around this road are clearly like local kids telling their own little like urban legends, and those are usually harmless, except for the fact that it's gotten so much notoriety that people like on there are straight up like huge. I checked TikTok the other day about it. There are dozens and dozens of videos of people from Toronto going to that road because they think it's paranormal and haunted as shit, and like. One of the stories is that like the reason why that person's gravestone is there is because like there used to be a farmhouse on a property on the road, and their dad was a Ku Klux Klan member up in up in Canada, and like they butchered people and like hung them and stuff like that. Like it's like what the fuck, like, and all of it stems from is like the in the 90s a girl died at it, didn't even die on the road. She died at the intersection at the end of the road.
Yeah.
Because of a car accident. Like there was a car accident or a truck like hit a car or something like that, and like she didn't make it. And so the family put a tombstone on the side of the road on the road with her name on it, and like with hearts and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
somebody took a photo of that at night because it looked spooky, and came up with a creepypasta or urban legend about it. And that's how like the ghost, like all these ghost stories kind of came up around this road.
Man, imagine being that kid that died, and this is what happens.
Yeah, this is your legacy.
Yeah, what the hell?
I mean, again, I'm a different person.
You'd be
like,
into
I'd be in the after like I'd be on that road fucking. If I had the ability to, I'd be on that road haunting it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
but
I'm sure their family isn't too happy about it.
And that's exactly it. Like the blog entry that like started like a bunch of the creepypasta stuff. It got recently taken. It was actually taken down. Like you can only really access it through archive.org. Which I did because originally I was actually thinking about doing it for our show.
Yeah.
Specifically for Canada Day this year, because hey, it's a road in an area close to us. It's in Canada. It's in Ontario. That's cool. And then I read it. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, like, it's like a little not kosher.
Yeah, you know? And the stories, like the urban legends, like the ghost stories that have been jotted down on creepypasta.wiki and on creepypasta like websites online about this road, they are shallow as hell. Like it doesn't go more than like, I got to this place, the truck showed up and chased us off the road, or chased us down the road, and that's it. Or we walked over to the abandoned house. As we were looking, I thought I saw a ghost girl like next to a tree. That's clearly where she was hung, or hanged. Sorry, or there's a girl in the cornfield there's a girl, a woman at a certain time of night. A woman will show up in the middle of the road, next to a cornfield, and just all dressed in white, walk out into the cornfield, into the middle of the cornfield, and then just start shrieking like a banshee. That's it. That's all. That's the plot of the stories. They're all like nonsense, and then like some of them are like the dad of the girl ghost that used the ghost child that used to be there.
Yeah,
he was like a member of the Ku Klux Klan in Canada, and it's completely false. There's no fucking evidence.
Yeah, and it's one thing if you're like writing creepy stories and putting them online, and they don't have any like real world connections, but when it has a real world connection to a family,
and actually I found out recently, I think the grave marker was removed by the family, and I think actually the blog poster of that blog post that's no longer around, it was removed because they realized how kind of like shitty this was, like to the family.
Oh, so at least they finally realized.
Yeah, they actually removed it because of like for the decency of the family and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, because like I think
that's good. Then I don't hate the guy that much. Then.
Yeah, no, like the people that posted, like again, it was like clearly like they were like diving into it like we would.
Yeah.
But then they started realizing it's like, no, this is like an actual family like that's being affected by this.
Yeah.
Like it would be one thing if the road wasn't like didn't have that marker and it was just like a creepy looking road for no other reason, or like it was like 100 years like there was like an old shack or something on a property on that road that was creepy as fuck, and that's how it got started. Like I'd be fine with that, but the whole thing about this road is that it started with a grave marker for a death that happened in the 90s, and the family added it there as a memorial marker, much like memorial markers across our county have for when somebody dies on the road, and the family puts a marker where you see like teddy bears and like flowers and stuff put on it. Like it's that kind of a grave marker. and somebody saw that and saw like that spook, like some teenager or some kid saw that and was like, that's spooky as fuck. Took a photo on their phone, started writing up a creepypasta, and it's like not realizing the repercussions of it.
Yeah,
like that's where I kind of like get a little bit more sensitive about this. Is like the fact that the family's still living. They're still mourning probably years after this, and somebody online keeps posting these night shots of that memorial marker under these false pretenses that there is something spooky about it when it's just a memorial marker.
Yeah.
Like it was very again diving into it, I was like, this is very childish, like creepypasta writing, and very shallow and kind of disrespectful. I kind of don't want to cover it. Like the only way I want to cover it is actually kind of, and I might cover it.
You're covering it a lot.
I'm covering it right now. I could do way more coverage on it. And like I kind of want to do it in like a later show about like these kind of like repercussions and like these implications of like misinterpreting something, or again using basically Blair Witch Projecting it, where like Blair Witch Project was shot near Burkittsville, formerly Blair, in Maryland. And that town got a ton of notoriety from fans of the Blair Witch Project because a lot of people back then thought that Blair Witch Project was a real thing. And so people were swarming it. A lot of neighbors, like a lot of the neighborhood people loved it. A lot of people didn't, because people were just stealing river rocks out of their garden because it's from the Blair Witch, it's from Burkittsville.
Yeah.
Like it's bullshit.
Like it's one thing, it's good for like tourism or whatever.
Yeah, it's good for tourism when it's intentional.
Yeah.
Or when when it's like unconsented, like kind of stuff like that. Like as much as I love to like find out about like a real place that's spooky, and would love to go there, I'm also not going to like trespass.
Yeah.
On some or take photos of a place and like keep like the address on it and stuff so people can like find it.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff like where I draw a line on like trying to find real world locations that creepypastas mention.
Yeah.
But getting back to the story at hand in Japan, so we take a flight back from Toronto all the way to Japan. But it is sort of like a similar. It is a similar vein. Like, and this is apparently the year of me like haphazardly like familiarizing or just happen to be like coincidentally talking about or thinking about similar things, and then I read a story that has that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the spookiness from this story to me, like they bring up like there's nothing supernatural about this story, but it does have a creepiness factor to it on a real world level because Nair and his family are affected by this kind of creepy, like not stalkery, but like it's kind of trespassing.
It's a little stalkery.
It's creepy, in a kind of a violating way because it's violating your privacy. Because like you're like again, if you saw your house on a paranormal website or blog, and people were like, man, that place is like spooky as shit, or like that place is definitely like, somebody hanged themselves on that pine tree. I was like, dude, like, fuck off.
Yeah,
like that's my house, or like, and they blatantly like, yeah. So it's like that kind of it. So somehow this story made me start kind of got me thinking on like the real world spooky implications, like the mundane spooky implications of this kind of thing.
You're also thinking about it under the implication that Nair is not a character, Nair's a real person.
Yeah.
And this is a story about a real life situation.
Yeah. Honestly, this would be a kind of story that I would want to see on Reddit, No Sleep. Because No Sleep is supposed to be all in character.
Yes, for sure.
And yeah, like who knows? This might actually, this could be real, this could be fake. Like most time we go into these things like under the pretense it's fictional, and that's what you gotta have to do with.
Yeah.
However, like in this story, like this instance, like I could easily see this being real.
Yeah, especially because the story itself says, there's nothing supernatural here.
Yeah, and like even apologize, like sorry, like I know it's not your, like almost like apologizing to Kowabana or whoever, like they posted whatever thread or like 2chan or forum they post these to, like apologizing to the users, like I know you're used to like reading really spooky ghost stories and stuff like that, but this isn't really one of those.
Yeah,
but it is kind of creepy. And yeah, when you start reading the story, it's like, yeah, this isn't really spooky at all. But then when you get to the end, it's like, that's creepy. Like it's got got an eeriness and a violating eeriness to it.
Yeah, if you put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you treat it with the immersion that it kind of promotes too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's actually my actual thought here is like, that's how I got to the point of like recommending the story, because it's like, it is a mundane horror story that we can all relate to. Like, if you were to see your house on if your house, listener, if you saw your house on a blog for like a creepy paranormal or urban exploration like place, you'd probably feel the same way as like Nair here when like they're reading the comments like, this place is spooky as shit. Look at that shed. That shed, somebody got axe murdered there. It's like, no, that's where we had chickens. We raised chickens, man. Like, like our house wasn't scary.
But there's the other thing. Do Nair and his family know the full history of their house? For all they know, bad stuff did happen there in the past.
Well, they do reference it, like they don't know that their house, like maybe their house, and that could be added on for like an extra story. This, like, assuming this is a piece of fiction, you could add an extra story where like Nair starts finding out more about his actual house, not just the town being like haunted as shit.
Yeah,
like with the festival murders and the train accident stuff.
I don't know if I would go to say far enough to say that it's haunted just because of those accidents.
No, but like that's a lot of times like that is because it's like a traumatic thing or like a traumatic death will create grudges or ghosts with unfinished business.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
So like that's usually how ghost stories start. Is like something very very dramatic happened for the death, and then that's what kind of created the well of supernatural element.
And people dying before their time.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
coincidentally yesterday.
No.
I watched a movie.
Okay.
Where I forget what it's called. But it's with oh god, what's his name? I can't remember his name. I can't remember the movie.
Was it even a movie? Was it
I don't know.
life?
Maybe it was real life. Either way, it was about a movie. It was a movie about a comedian who was like down on his luck. And he gets hit by a bus. And
does it have Chris Rock?
Yeah, Chris Rock.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but I know.
Yeah, he gets hit by a bus before his time.
Yeah,
and he gets put back into another guy's body.
And it's like a fat old white guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he has to like win his girl and like become a comedian like that.
It's called Down to Earth.
There you go. Yeah, and it's apparently based on another film from the 70s.
I can see that. Yeah,
where it's basically the same thing, but remove comedy and insert football.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah, no, that's... I do remember that movie because I remember watching it. Because remember, like, he's doing the dance. What?
Yeah.
What? And then he gets punched out.
Yeah. As this old white guy's like dancing, rocking out to some freaking rap music.
Yeah, in like a club, and then like some black guys just show up and just like punch him.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But yeah, like... Why did we get to that?
I don't know. We were talking about the town with the. That's why it's haunted because unjust deaths.
Yeah, unjust deaths. Again, it's why ghosts exist. Why there's ghost stories because like something tragic happens or something traumatic or tragic happens, and either ghost stories are because like a ghost manifests because of that, or ghost stories exist because people are trying to find, or are still trying to process a tragic death or trauma of an area.
Yeah.
And so they add in this ghost element. But yeah, in the story here, like, yeah, again, like we could get another story where like Nair starts discovering more dark secrets about like maybe there is something wrong with that shed. Maybe the previous owners of the family like had something there. Again, it's kind of like my grandmother's old house. There were 6 families that lived in it in 6 years, and they all moved out immediately after the other. And then we moved in and stayed for like 30. Then stayed for like, well, from I guess like the early from like whenever that was like in the 60s or 70s when they moved it when my grandparents moved in there, and my family lived there. And then like my grandmother had to be moved up farther north to like closer to us, like in the early 2000s. So. Like, we stuck around, and then I have noticed, like, I've kept tabs on that house since then.
Oh no.
And that place, my mom,
Every other family since then, 1 year and they're out.
actually,
Really?
yeah,
I was joking.
no one lives it like no one's like stayed in it long. Except I was about to say, see my mom's last name. Except for my grandparents, like my family, stayed in that house for like decades.
I think
there were haunted things in that. Well, according to my mom, there were some spooky things, like there were doors that would refuse to close, and then when she finally like gave up and was like, "Fuck," like she closed all the doors before she left, and like the one room that they always said was the spookiest, it just refused. It would like she'd close it and it would open, and then like it got to the point where she was like she was fighting something on the other side that was invisible to close the door, and she's like, "Fine, if you want to stay up, I'm leaving. So you can you have the whole out of the house." And then she started walking down the stairs, and then slam. Beep, beep, gone. Like,
you're joking.
I am not joking. This is a story. You can ask my mother. This is a story that she will tell you. I will also
say you lived this creepypasta, basically.
Kinda, yeah, now I think about it.
Yeah, really.
And like, I remember, like, my mom was terrified of the basement, because whenever she'd go down there, she would run up the stairs, because she always thought something was going to, like, go, like, hands were going to come through the slits in the stairs, because of one of those kind of stairways.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was creepy because, like, it was, like, always dark. It was, like, all, like, cement floor and dark wood paneling, like, black wood paneling. Like, not, and, like, rough wood paneling. Not even, like that faux, like, wood paneling. It was, like, dark, like, dark brown to black, like staining on wood panels.
Why?
I don't know. You look at it. I can show you a photo. I could show you the real estate website of it now. They've completely renovated the basement. It actually looks like a modern basement now.
Or is that just because we're far enough away from the curse and we're seeing it?
Maybe.
I
did notice that
the glamored version.
Yeah, I did notice that the one room that's supposed to be the spookiest on the second floor, there's no interior photo of it. They have interior photos of all the other bedrooms, except that one.
Why?
Exactly. It's like, did they brick it up? Like, did they just wall off a whole room? Because like the realtor's like, no.
Just no.
Like before the paint went up on the wall, they just like spray painted. Nope. Like on the drywall itself.
No, there's a sigil there. There's a warding sigil.
There is definitely Like, I did an entire, like, I actually drew up an entire comic about the haunting of that house.
How have I just learned about this?
I have the book. It was published.
Of your house?
No, of the comic. Like,
I'm talking about your house, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, this wasn't, like, this was, like, my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I'm surprised I haven't told you about this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, back to the story.
Yeah, before the tangent police busted the door.
Oh man, they are like, I can hear the sirens already.
It's really not a tangent though, because it's so directly connected.
I think that's they're like at the phone. It's like, we're waiting for the call. When are we getting that call? It's like, I mean, sir, it's technically it's related to the story. It's like, damn it. Really was.
They're starting on the path to tangents.
Yeah. But. Yeah, like, it is kind of related, because, again, it's like a spooky, like, living in a house. Like, my family lived in or supposedly lived in a haunted house. Like, they just lived with it. But, like, they never had anything weird, but, like, people would go, like, I remember...
They never had anything weird, like, try to close a door and there was a weird force on the other side?
They did. Well, and you wait till the end of that story. It was, like, when she came home from a party, like, that party she was going to, all the lights were on in the house, and they had been turned off beforehand.
Of course,
and the door was open. The door to the house was slightly ajar.
Outside? Like the main door?
So she went a couple of blocks down to her aunt's and asked her to come over so that she could go around the house and check it. And like my mom was like badass. She's like, but she told my aunt, like when they walked back over, my aunt was like, my mom was like, stay out here. I'm just gonna go inside and check. And she went in and turned off all the lights and checked to make sure there's nobody like had broken in or anything like that. No one did. Whatever it was in the house, just decided to turn all the lights on and open all the doors. As like a sort of like, my house.
That's just a thing, apparently.
And my mom just like, I'm sure it was spooky, but it was like, this is my life now. I live here. Literally.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
Slight tangent.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I've been watching, I was watching, I gotta wait for updates to it. The YouTube channel, Ghost Town Living. where it's a guy that
yeah.
bought an abandoned ghost town.
Yeah.
And there's one section in there where he's talking about a weird haunting that he experienced in the town.
Well, because like ghost town doesn't necessarily mean that there's ghosts in it. It means that the town is abandoned.
Yes, but in the one building,
yeah.
he was just walking around at night, and the light was on, and there was someone standing in the window in like the bunkhouse. And there's other people like he has volunteers come up and they stay in there and everything, and construction people come by. So he sees that, he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess there's some construction people staying there." Yeah. So he goes to bed and he wakes up the next morning, talks to his buddy. He's like, "Oh, one of the construction guys getting out of the bunkhouse." Like, there's no one in there.
Yeah, that'd be give me chills. Like, yeah, but like because like if there's people there, like that would be less creepy. Like if it was just one guy living in the thing. Like it was somewhere in like the desert or like somewhere up in the mountains. So, near, I think Corridor Digital Crew covered the guy. Yeah, because they did drone footage of the.
They 3D scanned the entire place.
Yeah, they 3D. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, like
what's with ghosts turning lights on? Like that's
it's electricity. Like it's an energy source that they can manipulate. That's the generally accepted reason why ghosts flicker with lights and stuff like that.
Or just like them being materialized, like just
either
their
them being materialized, or
with it?
Because they can't like it's harder for them to manipulate matter because they are incorporeal, but because they are kind of like a type of energy, it is easier for them to manipulate like energies in our world.
Oh, so they're not literally flipping the switch; they're just messing with the electricity.
They're basically adding light. They're probably it's perhaps like, or maybe even like flicking a switch is the easiest way to like. To manipulate, like, because like they can manipulate some matter, because like balls, like toys move around, or like things that move around. Some of that supposedly
just small stuff,
but like it's either they're emitting an electrical discharge to cause the electricity to flow through wires and thus like lighting.
Yes.
Hence why a lot of Ghost Adventures have EMF readers for rampant electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, but if it is them literally flicking the light switch, what you're telling me is get some weighted light switches.
Get some heavy duty things.
Yeah, like you got a two-handed, it's like
yeah. So when you leave the house, just like go down to the basement to like the breaker, just like
yeah, there you go. Try turning that on now, but you bastards.
Yeah, and then you got walking to. That's when you know you have a full-blown like class 5 poltergeist.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like run away. But yeah. No, you want to know why I'm like such a spooky like paranormal fanatic? Blame my mom.
Yeah,
my mom and her childhood were the sole reason I am the way I am.
That's fair.
But I digress. That's my actual thoughts. Is like the story isn't supernatural. It's not. It doesn't start off spooky, but the implications of the story and like the whole like breaking the sort of trespassy sort of invasion of privacy kind of angle of the story by the end, with the Ghost Adventures or the Urbex people taking photos of a house saying that it's super spooky, even though and it's your house on that blog, and you're getting sad and like kind of depressed by it. It's like, yeah, no, that's kind of creepy in itself because you kind of feel violated.
Yeah, for sure.
That was such a long-winded discussion, but
a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, surprisingly from this story, that's only like clocks in and almost like barely 2 pages on Google Docs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Gamer, you're what do you got left?
Yeah, let's see. I don't know if you actually touched on anything I was going to touch on.
Okay.
We may be touching different things. Don't take that weird.
Creepypasta, please look at the doll or tell us on the doll where the reviewers touched you, or where the readers touched you.
Yes. So right off the bat, it starts with, this has nothing to do with supernatural. It seems like small fry compared to all of your stories. With a title like The Most Dangerous Ghost Spot in North Kanto, like
it's
right
really
from
surprising.
Right from the get-go, I'm like, there must be some supernatural involved, even if it's just theories about supernatural goings on, and there is.
Yeah.
But like right off the bat, it was making me very confused.
Yeah, it was like there's some contradictions.
Yes. But like going through it, I wasn't really vibing. I wasn't really enjoying the vibe of like the story going through it, because like we talked about this before. It's so many levels removed from potential creepy stuff, because it's a dude telling us about a dude who wrote a post. Sorry, I'm a dude reading about a dude telling me about another dude who wrote a post about some other dude's place.
And that turns out to be your dude, like your place.
Yeah, which ends up being your place.
But still, I'm the dude reading about the dude who told
Who's
another
blogging
dude.
about another dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's commented by several other dudes.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudage going on, you know?
Yeah, it's like Goze-san's Bell, which we're like, that's why we were kind of disappointed, because it was like the story spookiness at the early on in the story is sort of like it's like 3 times removed or twice removed.
Yeah, it's many dudes deep.
Yeah.
I might make that a term I start using.
It's a veritable dude ranch.
Yeah. A little bit. Because, yeah, like, and right off the bat, because it's saying how there's nothing supernatural, it's like, it's putting me in a sort of chill, sort of, I'm just reading words at this point, sort of thing. Like, I wasn't expecting any spooks happening.
Yeah.
And there weren't any direct spooks.
Nothing. It's all like theory, or it's all like, it's all vibe.
Yes.
It's not like, it's all very subtle, or all very like, inference, not like nothing direct in the story.
For sure.
Implication. That's what.
Yeah, but like at face value, if you take the story for what it's saying, there's not much being said, you know, and it's very chill.
Yeah,
you know, just it's saying.
It's a summer. It's, you know what? Much like them going around, like road tripping around Kanto in the summer, looking at ghost spots and not seeing anything. That's basically the story. Like that's the vibe of the story.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So it's like it kind of captures what it was saying earlier in the story.
For sure. And then, hang on. Oh, yeah, this is talking about the blog owner. Well, I didn't have to say that because the first words are the blog owner drove to the site by car. But, as they got closer, the car kept stalling and having engine troubles, despite having just come back from an inspection.
Yeah.
So, to mundanify this even further,
get a better mechanic.
Well, yeah, with your own personal experience, honestly.
I definitely thought,
sometimes mechanics just don't do their jobs right.
Yeah, like when they get add on like an extra, like they replace a part on the bottom of your car, and assure you like, oh yeah, it's all done, and then you drive it for a week and it's fine, and then you're coming back from Thanksgiving, going down a side road, toward the highway. And you start hearing like a whirring sound, and then a boom. And you find out later, as you pull off to the side of the road and call CAA, that the part they installed, they installed the part, they didn't put any fucking fluid in it.
Yeah. At least you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And they paid at the nose for it.
Yeah, they paid a lot. There was a reckoning for that mechanic after that.
A little bit.
But yeah, no, I like basically, yeah, it's kind of thing. Like the guy's just like, honestly, when I read this, like, yeah, this Ghost Explorer guy is just making a mountain out of a molehill.
Because there's two things. Either he's lying about his engine not working for the blog, or it's just mundane reasons.
It's just shitty mechanic work and car trouble.
Because like right from the get-go, I was like already in the mindset of this is mundane because the story's telling me it's mundane.
Yeah, it's very, exactly. Like it's setting you up for a certain vibe.
Yes, for sure.
My dog just snored.
A little bit. And then this quote here. This is, it's, how stupid, there's no way, I thought. And the more I read, the more enjoyed I got. This in regards to reading the blog, probably. I'm just bringing this up because the line of how stupid, there's no way is in single quotes. And it's a thought. So hell yeah, single quotes for thoughts.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. I wish more people did that.
Mm-hmm. How stupid. There's no way. No way. There's just no way. Mm-hmm. That's an old meme.
I don't know that one.
Oh, really? It's or like mid 2000s. Like there was no way. It's a whole thing. I'll show you after.
Repeating it does not explain.
I know.
Where were we?
The so stupid. There's no way.
Oh, the literal quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is apparently the meme. Gotcha. Yes, but no. Yeah. Single quotes are cool. I like them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good
What
for
are the
like,
other dumb options that people have done? Oh yeah,
brackets,
italics. That's why it's better.
You know what? That's one thing I love about Kowabana. No italics, or very little italics that I found.
Mm-hmm. There's always better ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I got for my main notes, honestly, before final thoughts.
Okay, well, that seems like a good segue to final thoughts.
Indeed.
So yeah, I recommend this story. Hear me out. While it isn't blatantly or even viscerally or any spooky, or directly spooky at all.
Yeah.
By the end, there is this creepy real world vibe that you get from the story that, at least to me, is kind of thought provoking and eerie which I didn't. It's eerie, which I didn't expect from a barely 2-page creepypasta that even claims early on there's nothing really spooky about it.
Yeah.
But like there's something almost like not subliminal, but like something there's a subtle kind of violating creepiness
in between the lines.
In between the lines of the story. So that's kind of why I'm recommending it rather than not, because I was like, I mean, it's had me thinking this much, like I can't not recommend it.
It's fair.
And I was like, I didn't even want to like partially recommend it, like half-ass it. I kind of was just like, no, fuck it, wholesale recommendation.
Yeah, if you enjoy it by the end, yeah.
Yeah, like by the end, like it was like kind of like thought-provoking and inspiring. So it's like it's not conventionally a recommendation for a creepypasta because it wasn't really spooky, like we usually see in creepypastas, especially in Japanese creepypastas, where there's like a ghost or a curse or something like that.
Yeah.
It's spooky on a whole different level, and so yeah, that's why I'm recommending it.
Fair. I will not recommend.
You know what? That's fine. No, I was gonna like that would be fine because again, like it is.
I said that for the contrast bit because honestly, like through our discussion, like I originally said I wouldn't recommend, but through the discussion, I'm gonna at least partially recommend it.
Yeah,
because I didn't really think about a lot of these implications of it because if you read it at face value, which is how I normally read things, the story isn't really much of a story. It's this weird thing that this guy found when he was like road trip or when he was having some fun during summer vacation. Yeah, but the main story isn't even about that. Yeah. Like, the main story is just about my childhood home is creepy, yo. You know what? It's set up. This entire story is just set up for something more. Yeah. But we don't get that. But, like, at the same time, we still get... What we do get is if you read it deeper into it rather than, like, face value, it is more thought-provoking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, this whole story is before the title screen. Yeah. You know. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. Because the things that you brought up is interesting enough that it can go a lot of different ways. And I just wish it went one of those ways. You know, there was something... Like, even him saying, like... I remember when I was a kid, like, no one would come over to my house because they would say it was creepy, but I never understood why. Like, even just that. There's something. Yeah. But we don't get that. No. It's all between the lines. And as we said before, there is some... creepy vibes between them. Yeah. But nothing's cemented, so it's technically all headcanon for us? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, it's headcanon, but, like... Sometimes the headcanons are the best canons. Exactly. They do the most damage. And when a story makes you do that, that can come out... That can either come out really bland or really, like, lame, or it can be fantastic. And to me, I think that this teeters over to the fantastic side. Mm-hmm. Like, where it actually is, like, not even... I'm not going to say mastercraft... of like subtlety. Do not compare this to... No, it's not Who Was Found. Good. Which is also another horror movie that you can check out on Tubi. Yeah, where all the best ones are. Legitimately, there is actually, you know, that meme of like the boyfriend looking at and like looking at like the girl, and then like his girlfriend's right next to him, like looking at it, like, what the fuck? Mm. It's like the horror, like the boyfriend that in the meme is horror fans. The hot girl like passed by is Tubi, and then the other one's like Netflix, Shudder, YouTube, like just like all these all other the paid ones, all the paid subscriptions. It's like just go to Tubi. It's like all these horror movies are there. Pretty much, yeah. That is the kind of their jam. Yep. But either way, back to the story. We're like toting the line. I'm gonna have to like do some time with the Tangent Police after this. Yeah, to serve some do some public service. Yeah. I might not be here next week. No. But yeah, overall, you have swayed me because it is thought-provoking. And the ways that it can go are pretty vast, honestly.
Yeah.
Even if you just keep it super mundane, it's still interesting when you think about it. Especially if there's a little line added in to connect something creepy to it, saying like other people call it creepy, more than just this one blog guy spreading a bunch of misinformation.
Thinking about it, it's like, I wonder if that's why like none of my friends ever want to do sleepovers.
Yeah, maybe
Bam!
maybe the friends never directly said, "I don't want to go to your house. It's creepy." It's just they never asked to come over.
Or like when I asked Akun, he was like, yeah. I'm like, actually, it kind of was kind of really fucking creepy, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
You never told me.
It's like, I mean, the house looked like this like from Adam's Family, dude.
But yeah, so overall, I probably said that 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm going to partially recommend it just because I partially recommend it for the ideas behind it.
Yeah.
But the story itself there is still, I'm not going to say bland, because it's not bland, it's just, it doesn't commit to anything. And I wish it had committed to something, even in the slightest.
Yeah, even, like, again, like we just said, have like a friend or so have a real offline confirmation, not just like commenters and bloggers saying how creepy the house is. Yeah. I could believe that. Yeah, so, I guess so. A full recommendation, then a half recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, I actually swayed you.
You did.
That's impressive.
Because I'm sitting here, like, when I did my notes, I'm like, there's not much to talk about here.
And then
this is going to be a quick one.
And I was like initially like that. I was like, and then I looked at my 3. Like, how big was that? That's
like,
I'm
looking at your page.
It's literally half.
You wrote more notes than there are words in the story.
I have 4. Well, okay, so like I have like a half a page of like the rundown, and then like another half page of grammar inquisition, and then like 2.5 pages of notes.
That's impressive.
I technically wrote down more than the story had.
That says something.
Yeah.
And I can't let that go without swaying me in one way or another.
And I wonder if this happens with like these shorter stories, because I get, because I know they're shorter stories, like they're only like 2 pages long. I wonder if it's like I'm digging for things.
Maybe, but sometimes you dig and you find gold.
Yeah, because I know like in some of the stories, like when we do like they're like 20 pages long, it's like I'm just reading through it. So most of the time I'm brisking through it, and then like I'll take the odd note or some of that. Like, I wonder, like, I'm curious of like how in depth are our longer ones compared to our shorter ones because of this.
Yeah, well, when it's a longer story, we don't need to dive too much and ask some questions, but we don't need to ask as many questions because the story has the word count to answer what it's trying to say more.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more interpretation.
The shorter it is, the more we have to interpret.
Yeah, which I think is where like our discussion gets a little more chunky.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of good in a way when it does that, though, because it like lets you, not just you specifically, lets us use our imagination, although it's mainly you today, because I didn't think of any of this.
Yeah, but you contribute to the discussion,
yeah.
So the discourse.
Mm-hmm. But those are kind of the most fun recordings that I feel we do when we can think of all these interesting ways to view the story.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like, it kind of harkens back to, like, again, like, the 20-page creepypastas and stuff like that, they're good, they're fine, they're great. Most of the time.
There's the Borascas out there.
There's the Borascas. I mean, Borasca was okay, but, like, it was a novel that was broken up into, like, 8 different chapters.
Yeah, but it's a fun read, as skeevy as it was.
But I think I like the shorter ones because they also harken back to the old days of creepypastas where they were just short, like really short, like stories that somebody wrote online.
Yeah, you can't sit around a campfire and listen to someone read Borasca.
Yeah, exactly. It's like somebody. You know what it is? It's somebody like, and this isn't like a jab at the book, but it's like somebody like, all right, we're sitting around a campfire story and just like, all right, let me pull you out Stephen King's It. Like 600-700 pages.
How many pages it is?
It's a chunky boy because he fired his editor.
Oh wow!
After a few books, like early on, he just like, you know what? No, fuck it. I'm not doing it. I'm not having an editor to cut down my word count. All my words are perfect. It's sort of the generalized like meme about his writing is like at a certain point he just got rid of his editor.
Whatever he actually did.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or he's just a voracious writer. So. But back to this story. So I guess that'll do it for this week's
Yeah.
episode. Sorry.
That's just a little extra after our final recommendations, apparently.
Yeah. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're both on Twitter. Gamer in Yellow is at The Gamer in Yellow, but without the W at the end, because his name is very long.
It's a bit at this point.
Indeed. It's almost becoming a creepypasta length.
A little bit. I wonder if, like, after all this time, they've actually extended the amount of characters, and
So
I
you
could just
have
put the
added?
W in. Maybe I'll try that next time.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to send us emails, you can go to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things online. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! We go do it, like, in sync without having to, like, be adjusted.
Oh, did you have to adjust it the whole
Honestly, I've
time?
never had, like since you moved to,
Faster internet?
the faster internet, and also not doing it off the browser and using the app. I haven't had to, like, do any syncing for.
That being said, every time we record it, I always do my half a second before you do. Because I assume that there's at least a little bit.
That's probably what's doing it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories and the translators of these stories, thank you immensely. Because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, without these stories that you post on 2chan or Japanese forums, and without Kowabana, or the nice lady behind Kowabana, who takes these stories, translates them, and posts them on her website, and even does a podcast every week about like that highlights different creepypastas that she's covered. I believe her. I wish I remembered her name.
Does she translate all of them herself?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was like 5 or 6 people doing this.
No, like
that's a lot of work.
Tara A. Devlin. That's her name. Yeah. Thank you, Tara A. Devlin, for your translating and your posting of these creepypastas from Japan. Because without them, we wouldn't have access to them, and I feel like we'd be poorer for it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, there's definitely been some cool, like, creepy things that we found as a result.
Yeah, we've had lots of gems. Like, even this one, even though I originally didn't recommend it and changed to a partial, like, there's still a lot of potential with it. Like, hence why we talked about it way longer than I thought we would.
Yep. Yeah, it's just one person.
Nice.
As far as I know. Like,
that's impressive.
Yeah. Thank you for whoever out there posted this on the Japanese forums, and thank you for Tara A. Devlin and Kowabana for translating them and sharing them with the Western audiences. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sayonara, and sleep well. Most dangerous. Dosed. Dyslexia is kicking in.
A little bit.